For our next trick, here is a Zerk fitting. It's a grease fitting that goes to this U-joint. And you need to position it, and if it's not in position, you can rotate the drive shaft till it does get into position, which this is a good position here. And once you have it in that position, you just fill it up with grease. Now I have here a just standard grease gun. You can put standard grease cartridges in these, just like regular old axle grease, what have you, is normally what's used. I was asked about that in the last video I did about this type of service, but it's pretty straightforward, really. But as far as the fittings on this Toyota, what I've found is, like, the drive shafts, both front and rear, have these fittings, but I did not see anything on any of the suspension parts. So the suspension parts are not serviceable, however these are. And once these drive up, once these lose lubrication, there's a good chance that, you know, the joint will fail shortly after that. So keeping these lubricated is a good thing. And this is something that should be done, like, at least, I would say, maybe every other oil change or so, but it looks like it's been some time since these have been touched. Quite simply, you just install the fitting up on there, and then what I'll do is, see how you can loosen and tighten this? I'll leave it loose, stick it on the fitting, tighten it, and it usually stays put. And then I'll loosen it when I take it off. And I'll pump the grease until I see it start to come out of the joint a little bit. You can see some air. There you go. See how it's just come out a little? That is all that's required. And it's okay to push out that old grease, because that's exactly what you're doing, is you're pushing out the old grease. So you want that to happen. You want it pushes out the dirt, it pushes out all the gunk, all the everything, and puts nice fresh lubricant on the inside of it. So if it seems like it's messy, it is, but that's a good thing. Okay, here we are in our next set of fittings. We've got one here for this slip joint, and then there's another fitting up inside the U-joint. I'm going to do the U-joint first. So I'm just going to rotate this a little bit, see if I can get better access. Alright, I'm going to hope that's on there. If it's not, it will let me know. Sounds like it's on there. Yep, I see it coming out of the joint. Life is good. So now I've found that, at least with my grease gun, that if I loosen the end like this before I try to pull it off, it saves it. It saves the end from any kind of damage, and it's much easier to pull on and off. Or I can just run it down like this when I first put it on and stick it up on there, and it seems to stay. So it may take a little bit more because these joints are a little bit different. And these are here because the rear end moves up and down as the suspension moves. And as a result, it's going to need to change its effective length. And that's what this joint does. And that's what I'm lubricating right now. I think I'm going to stop there. I don't want to go too overboard. I also don't want to overfill. Sometimes too much lubricant can be just as bad as none. Alright, let's move on to the front. Same drill here. Sort of move the axle into position. Leave it here. So you can maybe see the fittings. There's one down in here for the U-joint, one here for the slip joint. It's exactly the sound that I want to hear. That seems good. Let's move on to the front part of the shaft. Alright, there's our Zerk fitting. Look like I'm all the way on that time. That's a happy U-joint. It's going to sling a little bit of this grease out
when it first starts working. That's okay.